All right, welcome to our very first explainer on wilderness first aid. In this kickoff session, we're going to lay the groundwork. We're breaking down the entire structure of this qualification so you know exactly what to expect, how you'll be assessed, and most importantly, why this whole thing really matters for your career out in the wild.
Okay, let's just jump right in. You're a guide, a tracker, you run a lodge, you're a professional, right? You've got your skills. But when an emergency really hits, how do you prove that your first aid knowledge isn't just something you picked up along the way, but is actually a professional, verifiable skill? I mean, just look at this. These kinds of moments are intense, they're real, and they demand way more than just good intentions. So, in a critical situation like this, what is the actual difference between someone who just knows some stuff and a true professional who has proven their competence?
Well, the answer really is having a professional blueprint. It's not just a rough plan for what to do. It's a solid framework that structures your knowledge, validates every skill, and gives you official recognition for what you can do. And this entire qualification is built on that blueprint.
And this is it. This isn't just some made-up course name, it's an official designation. Unit Standard 120496. Think of this as the master blueprint. It's registered on the National Qualifications Framework, and it sets the gold standard for what it means to be truly competent.
Let's quickly break down the specs on that blueprint, The ID is 120496. It's set at NQF Level 2, which basically just gives it a recognized level of complexity within the whole national education system. And it carries 5 credits. But what does that actually mean for you in terms of your time?
It means this: 50 hours, 50 notional hours of learning. The rule of thumb is that 1 credit equals about 10 hours of learning. So these 5 credits represent a 50-hour commitment. We're talking theory, practicals, self-study, the whole shebang. This is definitely not a quick overview, it's a serious deep dive.
So we have this big 50-hour blueprint, but how is it actually designed? How are those hours structured to build you into a competent first responder? Let's deconstruct it.
It's actually a pretty simple 3-level structure. At the very top, you've got the unit standard. That's the master blueprint we just mentioned. That blueprint is then broken down into several specific outcomes, which you can just think of as your key missions. And to prove you've completed each mission, you have to pass through specific assessment criteria. Those are your quality checkpoints.
Let's zoom in on that second step. A specific outcome is basically one of the major, high-level skills you've got to master. For instance, assess and manage an emergency scene is one of them. If the unit standard is the blueprint for the entire house, these are the main rooms, the kitchen, the living room. They're the essential functions you have to be able to perform.
And so, if the specific outcomes are the rooms, how do you prove you've actually built them right? Well, that's where the assessment criteria come in. These are the specific, measurable standards that are totally non-negotiable. For example, an assessment criterion might be something like, emergency services are activated according to workplace procedures. It's clear, it's measurable, it's the quality check that says, yep, this was done to standard. And all of this leads to a really crucial point. This qualification is not about just showing up for a few days. It's about proving you can do the job when it counts. It is all about assessment. Now, you're going to come across 2 kinds of assessment. Formative assessments are those on-the-go checks during your training, the drills, the scenarios. Think of it like constantly monitoring a patient's vitals. It tells you and your instructor how you're progressing. Then there's the summative assessment. That's the final exam, the big one. That's your portfolio of evidence, or POE, which you'll submit to prove you're competent.
Now I know what some of you are probably thinking right now. Hey, I've been doing this for years. I have other certifications. Do I really have to start from square one? And that's a fantastic question. And the answer is a big no, not necessarily. There's a formal process for that, and it's called Recognition of Prior Learning, or RPL. It's a pathway to get official credit for the skills you already have, whether it's from other courses or just years of real-world experience. You just have to be able to provide the evidence.
Okay, so we've talked about the structure, the jargon, the process, but why does any of this matter to you when you're out on a game drive or managing a remote lodge? Let's connect the dots.
Let's just get super practical for a second. Imagine a hiring manager is looking at 2 candidates. Candidate A says, "Trust me, I'm great with first aid." Candidate B just quietly presents their official statement of results for Unit Standard 120496. Who has the undeniable professional edge here? Who do you think gets the job? And that really gets to the heart of why this all exists. This is the official purpose of the whole unit standard.
It's about enabling you to provide professional-level, risk-based care to keep everyone around you safe, your coworkers and your guests. It's really a statement of professional responsibility.
So what's the payoff for you? Well, following this blueprint gives you some huge advantages. It gives you instant credibility with employers. It gives you real confidence in your own skills because they've been tested against a national standard. It gives you a crystal clear understanding of your professional scope. And maybe most importantly, it gives your guests total assurance that they are in truly safe hands.
So let's just bust the biggest myth right now. This is not just another weekend first aid course you take to tick a box. The reality is, this is a formal, registered qualification that's recognized nationally. It carries real weight. It means something.
All right, before we wrap this one up, let's do a quick lightning round of what you absolutely need to remember. First, this is a formal qualification. Unit Standard 120496. Your training is all about mastering specific outcomes, your skills get measured against clear assessment criteria, it's a 50-hour commitment, and hey, if you've already got the skills, you can apply for RPL.
And that brings us right here. You now have the professional blueprint in your hands. You understand the structure, you know the language, and you see the value. But you know, a blueprint is just a piece of paper without action. In our next explainer, we're going to start laying the foundation. So the question is, are you ready to lay that first stone?